So Action Slacks there with the questions to the captain of Complexity, a band of brothers, you might say. Talking of a band of brothers, we've got our own band of brothers on the panel because we've got 2 new members of it. We've got Winter joining us and Black, experts, of course, both. How you do? All good?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm fine.
Yeah, enjoy the first games?
Yeah, happy to join you again.
Of course, we love having you here, Winter. I just don't like playing Mafia or
no werewolf for you.
Werewolf for you. No more. Black, how you doing?
Doing great. Just my favorite hero on Miracle. He did a lot of work, and I'm happy.
Oh, good. Okay. And in terms of first match of the day, second game, best game of the tournament so far.
A lot of mistakes though.
Yeah.
See, you have to be critical already, Winter. We're going to hear from all 3 of our analysts very shortly, but we do need 2 new teams to enter the stadium. We'll start with Complexity.
A band of brothers from another world, this group has solidified as a title contender team, not only in North America, but across the world. Slowly but steadily, they climbed the ladder. These guys are in it to win it, and the thirst for their first major title is undeniable. Welcome on stage, Complexity Gaming! From a new generation of Chinese players hungry for success and ready to start a new chapter, the Manila Major will be the biggest stage in their young careers. A dynamic team possessing an immense hero pool. Their strength lies in their patterns of play, which seem to have no rhyme or reason. Beautiful, unpredictable chaos. They are not to be underestimated. Welcome on stage, Wings Gaming!
Okay, so Wings and Complexity now in the building. We'll let them get settled in their booths whilst we give you more information on both teams. We'll start with Complexity on our panel. And Purge, up and coming, band of brothers, emotional fighters. It's all the ingredients are there, and yet they've had a very poor group stage.
Yeah, it was really disappointing for them. I think they weren't rated super highly, at least by English talent, but they're a team that oftentimes gets middle of the pack at a lot of tournaments. They had a good run at Epicenter. I'm sure they're disappointed, especially because of TI's looming. I was a little surprised by Swindle's interview as well. He said they're lacking confidence, and I think that's the first time I've ever seen Swindle unconfident is in that interview, that he's actually been modest about getting to TI and setting low goals. I don't know if he's just doing like an act kind of thing, but it really makes me unsure about their typical ability, which is going through loser bracket and just winning multiple games.
Now, I've got to know Cole pretty well, actually, in the last year, and I would say that's probably the most honest I've seen him on camera in terms of removing the veil, the bravado. It's the real guy. I know how emotional he is and how much he cares about his teammates and winning and what have you, and that felt very genuine, Winter.
Yeah, I think that from the previous events that I saw their team playing, they were always together, even though during the break days and during the last whole week, I saw them apart. They are not hanging around together. And this team, the strength of this team is their teamwork. They play as a unit. But you can see from their drafts right now, they are very disorientated. Like there's a lot of fragments of different ideas in their draft.
I think I agree with what both of you say, but I think the biggest factor why they're not confident right now is they used to dominate together with EG, the American scene, but now they just lost 5 best of 3s in a row to Digital Chaos, and ever since then it feels like they haven't been as confident. Their draft, they don't really know what to draft, how to draft anymore, and it just feels like that shook them up like a lot. Even coming into this event, they were a lot stronger before, at least personally I feel that way, and they just haven't shown what they've got yet.
I think it happens a lot when you get beaten by the same opponent over and over again, and you try to adjust towards that opponent, and you try to adapt, but then you forget that when you play against other opponents, you cannot actually do that. That only works against DC.
Yeah, you think too much about how do we beat them, and then, we maybe figured something out, how to beat them now, but how do we beat the other guys now? Right. And then all the preparation is down the drain.
Purge, I see you shaking your head a little bit.
I'm not completely sold on that. I was sitting with 2 of them, I think it was Swindles and Z-Freak, and they basically just said, it's one team. Like, yes, that team has our number. Yes, that team can beat us, but that doesn't kill our confidence about everything. Like, Z-Freak seemed completely unfazed by it. Maybe Swindles was slightly.
From their drafts and their results, it doesn't tell us that they're losing, they're changing their drafts so drastically. It usually shows for the fact that they're not confident in what works for them anymore, because they keep losing, they don't know what's good for them.
There haven't been that many games. It's like, what, 2 best of 3s that they lost 2-0? I mean, that's significant, but it's not everything.
Okay, all right. Well, one of the key players in the team that we don't always necessarily speak about often enough is Hansken. So let's find out exactly more about it.
When Simon was about 6 years old, he said, when I'm grown up, I'm going to be nothing, just like my dad. I like that very much.
Do you know why he said that?
Yeah, because I'm a cameraman. And when you're 6 years old, the cameraman is not a profession. You have to be a fireman, you have to be police, or something like that, something really. So he thought that filming with a camera, that's nothing. That's not the proper work.
My dad built my first computer. I can't remember how old I was, so maybe like 7, 8, 9 years old, something like that.
We started off playing together, and we started with Monkey of the Cursed Island something. It was really funny. And then he developed it and played with friends and so on. And then I was out of the picture.
I've always had that passion, even since he was 6 years old. And first it was a kids game, but quite soon we saw that this is something more than just a hobby. This is a passion.
It was not really something we discussed. Like, it was never like me approaching them saying like, hey, I want to be a pro gamer. It just sort of happened. They knew I was trying to compete and they were fine with it, but they never really thought I was going to be a professional by any means.
Jag viskar han leva, jag viskar han leva, jag viskar han leva till 100:e år.
Han lever! Hurra! Hurra!
They said to Simon, if you handle the school and you play a lot of handballs, you move yourself, you can use the computer how much as you like.
So he did both things. He took care of his school and also had time to do the things he liked.
I made a couple of $100 a month, and they're like, hey, Mom, Dad, look at this. I make a bit of money now, like, while I'm in school. And they're like, oh, that's awesome. You should keep doing it, you know?
It was something to show your parents, to show them that you can make a living of this, and it's not just a crazy, distant dream.
No, you don't get so many opportunities like this. You have to grab it when you got it.
He's still the same person, still the same brother, and I think for our mom and dad, he's still the same son.
For a mom, it's nervous to let your son see the world. But you have to see it from his side. It's his life, what he wants to do. So you have to see beside yourself and let him live his life.
Another great story from the filmmakers that go into these. They're absolutely terrific. They really are. They make us think about our own futures and past as well. And another great story from Complexity. There are so many of these. We could almost do a feature on every player. They've all got their own stories about how they've got there and how they've got bigger and what have you. Winter, how important is it to have that kind of background and family and strength and everything else to be able to come and do something like this?
Motivation, like where you come from motivates. Like something that I can relate to is one of, especially my friend Mushi. The reason why he's so motivated when he plays Dota, it was because he came from a very poor family. We were teammates, and he had to win tournaments so that he could actually get food.
Right.
That's how bad he wants to win. So I can relate to that.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Purge?
I just love how supportive his family is. Like, that was like the perfect in every way. Like, they kept every video of him since he was a baby. Like, they had so much video. Did the filmmakers?
Almost the whole film.
Did they have to do anything? They're like, oh, you can just there's 60% of our B-roll. This is gonna be really straightforward. But like, you could just see how much they cared about each other as a family. It was great.
Okay, well, I think we could probably talk about Complexity and Hanskin all day, but let's move on to Wings. Black, in terms of the way that they've come through, didn't expect them down in the lower bracket. They're probably the most dangerous bracket as we'll take a look at their lineup in the lower bracket itself.
I think they're the most unpredictable team in this tournament, and getting them in a best of one it's gonna make it really hard on you, because you don't know what they're gonna draft, you don't know what to prepare for. And they probably know how Cole plays. Like, Cole has a play style, but Wings is just like all over the place. You don't know what they'll do. And they're definitely a fearsome opponent, especially in the best of one.
Yeah. What do we know about them? What do we know that they're definitely going to do, though, Winter?
Well, it feels
they're
like
going to run at us, aren't they?
They're like a team that on any given day, they were just like, oh, we feel like doing this today, and we're just going to do this today. It's very hard to explain why they're doing that against that opponent. Like, certain teams, there are a lot of logics behind how they run things and why do they choose that. But for Wings, it's very difficult to rationalize how they choose their strats.
Okay, let's see if we can find out some more information, because Sir Action Slacks did catch up with their team captain after the group stage.
All right, guys, I'm here with Y. It's correct, right? I know that your name is very important to you, so I want to make sure I'm right. It's Y with a dot, right?
他想确认一下你的 ID， 因为这对你来说挺重要的吧？就是确认一下是 Y 加一个符号点吗？
是的，因为感觉 Y 太单一了吧，就是没什么特色的感觉。
Yes, I feel that Y is just too plain. There's nothing special about it, so I need that.
Yeah, you know, we call that a beauty mark, so that makes sense to me. All right, so you're the captain of Team Wings. It's your third LAN tournament, and you're already at the Manila Major. I mean, how do you guys feel about that? You got to be excited, right?
作为 Wings 的队长，然后这是你们第3次打线下比赛，然后也到了特锦赛，可能是很兴奋的吧？你们的感觉是怎么呢？
感觉很不一样吧，因为每经历一个线下大赛都是不同的感觉。从第一次在明斯克的时候，可能这是第一次，然后而且淘汰的比较快，大家都缓的都容易缓不回来吧。然后慢慢到这种大赛，更多是学习累积的过程吧，可能线下赛更能让人享受在其中。
It's a different feeling every time after each tournament. When we were at Minsk, we were eliminated quite early, and it was hard for us to adjust. And after that, every tournament is sort of like a build-up of experience, and it's been good for us.
Yeah, and you had a lot of success last time you were in Manila, so I can see how you're kind of building it up. Another question for you. China, a little bit ago, was all over the place. Everybody was just out of control, but you guys were very solid. You were a strong team. Why were you solid and everyone else was just going crazy?
在不久之前，就中国的整个 Dota 圈都很混乱，然后各个队伍的水平都不一样，但是你们一直都挺强的，然后实力也是很强硬。你觉得这是为什么呢？
首先可能是就是最初中国队还好的时候，我们都那时候还不厉害，慢慢在学习着，然后最主要是一直都在努力着。过了，因为我们其实组队也慢慢组的比较久，大家一直在慢慢磨合，然后老队通过什么版本啊，包括平时训练那些，我们在慢慢追他们的同时，然后就是慢慢在追他们吧，就是要一直努力着。我们 最主要是大家心在一起，然后大家生活又开心，5个人又没有变过，磨合越来越好，然后目标也就越来越近了吧。
When all the Chinese teams were good, we were actually not as good as them, but we worked very hard to try to catch up to them. And after all these updates and different versions of the game, we've been trying hard. Another thing is that the time that we've been together is getting longer, and all of our hearts are together, and we have fun in life. So it's a process of building a relationship together.
Yeah, let's talk about some of that fun. I heard that you guys have a thing where you make up new names for each other. Is that true? Could I get some examples?
他听说你们会给就是自己还有包括其他选手取一些外号，是真的吗？然后能不能跟我们说一下这个？
主要取外号取自己旁边的朋友吧，可能就最主要是吹别人，让周围的朋友更开心点，什么都像学那些弹幕一样的，在每个人的什么后缀后面啊加个什么黄啊什么的，那些比较好听的称谓的时候，然后再遇到一些更比如一些让人最主要是印象深刻吧，像比如 MVP 的 Q 主要是也跟他关系还可以吧，然后又看到最近经常使用的斯拉达这个英雄，就又联想到他的出装啊很肉那些，就觉得给他取个名叫胖头鱼，这种就感觉很好玩。
It's mainly having names for people who are close to us. Like the stream chat, we like to add Emperor or King to the end.
Yeah.
But for other players, it's more about who we remember the most. For example, for MVP's QO, recently he's been playing a lot of Slaughter, and his build is very tanky. So we gave him the name of Fat-Headed Fish.
Yeah, that makes about sense to me. Sounds good. Yeah. Well, very creative of you. Well done. All right, so another question for you. Before Manila, you guys said that you do not fear any team as Team Wings. Has that changed at all now that you're at the Manila Major?
在 ESL Manila 之前，你们说到作为你们的 Wings 这支队伍是不怕任何一支队伍的，现在还是一样的吗？
我觉得这句话主要是因为这个版本嘛，我觉得这个版本上我们的确是不怕，包括到现在吧，还是不怕任何队的。只要我们自己的状态跟自己选的阵容，只要够适合我们就应该不会输给任何队。
I think the statement only applies to this patch because if we are in our good forms and we have a draft that suits us, we can beat any team.
Okay, cool. Well, last question there for you. You guys were originally a new team. You were an unknown to most of the Western teams and all that. Now you've been here for a while. It seems like people are starting to figure you out. Do you have any plans of changing up the play style of Team Wings?
就是你们之前也算是一支非常新的队伍，然后国外很多观众对你们都不熟悉，但是慢慢的现在更多人就是想了解你们，或者已经知道了你们，你们有没有打算就是把自己的打法改变呢？
不能说改变吧，就是我们可能更多，因为我阵容很多是，比如就是我选的，我更多是围绕着我们每个大哥的打法，然后看他们喜欢平常玩什么英雄，主要还是看大哥们吧，因为其实对于那些水友，我们只会去看他们希望的，然后能不能有的时候一些水友的一些提出的英雄，可能刚好就在我们的英雄池里，我就会考虑一下这些。
We don't really plan on changing our style, but I normally draft according to what our cores like to play. And if the audience wants a certain hero and it happens that our cores play it, I'll take in consideration.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, we hope that you guys get some more continued success here at the Major. It's been a wild, nonstop ride watching Wings ascend into the greatness of Dota, and I'm sure we're going to see some more of you. Thank you for your time.
非常感谢你接受这段采访，然后也是希望你们之后能取到更好的成绩。
谢谢。
Thank you. Yeah, thank you as well. All right, and that's it for there from Y period. We'll see some more of them and the rest of Team Wings coming up in the Manila Major.
Great words from the man himself, and also from Sir Awkward Slacks there as well in the interview. Just because we've only seen them really out here in Manila, because they're back on this soil again, it feels like there's something about this place for them, and they face Complexity again, which they beat in ESL 1. So is this just history repeating itself?
I mean, this is a best of 1, not best of 3, so that's the big difference.
Yep.
It could be, but they're starting from the worst place in the entire tournament. A little different than last time.
Yeah, okay. Winter, you fancy their chances still?
Wings is definitely the favorite, but like what Kevin said, it's best of 1. Anything can happen. A cheese that you don't expect, even though both teams are known for cheese.
Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Got any dice on you, Black? Any dice we can roll?
Not
Seems
really.
as good a prediction system as any, right?
I mean, like the only dice I can roll is that Wings is gonna cheese and then maybe fail themselves, and that's like how Cole wins. But for me, Wings is like the definite favorite, like 80-20.
Really, that much?
Oh yeah, I just don't see Cole coming out of the slump like out of nowhere.
Okay, so you're definitely on the Wings train.
Yeah.
Okay. Winter.
I don't think Wings need to cheese against Cole. They can just play a normal style.
See, I was thinking maybe this is the next level meta game, like the mental games come up. Everyone thinks they're going to cheese. We've all talked about it. Complexity will have watched their demos and said, they're definitely going to cheese. And then they don't. They play a standard game. That's going to throw Complexity out, right?
Yeah, and I think above that, I think it's enough for them to just play a good standard game to be able to beat Complexity rather than, we run a cheese.
Okay.
What if they find out and they know what we're doing and we lose the game just because of that?
Okay. Does that mean you're going with Wings?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
If they do for...
No. None of that sitting on the fence. You've got to go one way or the other.
But you see, Winter? That's why I said if they cheese and fail themselves, then they lose.
Right, but you're both going for Wings.
Yes.
Crazy people.
If
Purge,
they
come on,
don't
bring some
cheese.
bring some sensibility to this desk, please.
I've spent a good 15 minutes thinking about this, and I think Wings is a better team. That's clear, but Cole is really good at loser bracket. And then I saw Swindle's interview, and he had no confidence. I'm like, ooh, maybe my prediction is I don't know anymore.
Can I help persuade you by telling you that instead of going out and having fun with everyone else for 2 consecutive days, he spent glued to the replays and going through bits and pieces with his team.
You're talking about Cole?
Yeah. Which they normally wouldn't do. They're normally very outgoing people, should we say.
All right. I'm not super confident, but I need to distance myself from the other predictions because I have Cole placed pretty high overall. And
so he's confident now because he's got one right earlier. That's what this is all about. He's got one.
I'm going to go with Cole.
Okay.
That's more my gut read, though, than my brain.
Okay, so 2 with Wings, 1 with Complexity. I think that sort of is about right from my perspective because I know that how difficult it is to predict this game. I think everyone will find it very difficult to predict this game. So there it is. Purge with Complexity, Winter with Wings, and Black also with Wings. Hopefully we can get the social media votes up as well and find out what the community think, both from Twitch and Twitter fairly shortly. The players are in the box. They are in their booths right now getting ready for the draft. In fact, I can see we have a couple of bans. So we'll just go very quickly through these. So Twitch are going 60-40 in favour of Wings. That seems pretty reasonable to me.
It's a best of 1. Like,
yeah.
You know, one weird pick,
and
one
Twitter's
weird gank.
53-47. So it is very quick, very close between both the community and here on the panel. Draft is underway. We do have 3 bans, so let's drop you into that right now. There's a Darkseer ban in, there's a Bristle, and not really unexpectedly, there's a Beastmaster. What are you expecting, Black? Are we expecting some cheese, or do you think they really will go the standard route that Winter pointed out?
I think Wings will go standard, and I'm really happy they did the homework because Cole used to run Bristol back a lot. They're a Bristol IO team, just like MVP is, and I'm really happy they. Oh, okay.
Yeah, by the way, their first pick and Dyer on Wings, so someone must have chosen.
I think Complexity chose Radiant.
They chose Radiant.
They were doing that in the groups as well.
Oh, I see. All right. So that's really quick.
Oh, hello.
I mean,
100 Oracle.
If you got a best of 1, you pick out something interesting, and this could be it.
I mean, I remember one of the cheese that they did in
Elka.
They did in Epicenter, the Wyvern and the X jungling. I don't know if you remember the game, Paul, but they did like this dual jungle, and they got like a 9-minute Vanguard and Blink.
Yep. Now I'm surprised. I wanted to throw in there before we even got to the draft. I wonder if we'll see the Huskar ban, right? But what's the point now?
Oracle works with a few heroes, like DP is great with Oracle.
But it could be banned. Why wouldn't they pick DP right there?
I'm not sure though, because they wanted to open a draft with Lone Druid, and you want to go with a support, right? You don't want to go Lone Druid plus a core.
Yeah, but Oracle is like a hero that won't get banned. Like,
yeah.
It has
So they have a strat.
Leave and they probably wouldn't figure it out.
They want to do something specific, and we'll see about that. And then the Alchemist is a direct response to the push.
I remember one of the games they had Oracle plus Lash in one of their group games, and the Lash was like level 6 at 6 minutes on a support Lash.
Yeah.
What's up, Paul?
The bans. Why would you?
Well, I mean, A is gone, right? So if they have IO plus another defensive hero, then they're never killing Elk. Especially Lone Druid has some trouble guaranteeing kills on heroes.
Right.
Okay.
Even if he gets a root, it's sometimes not reliable enough.
Especially if Alchemist goes to Radiance build, that really decreases the DPS of the Lone Druid, and you just won't have enough damage to kill him.
They got to make sure Elk dies. That's the most important thing now.
I mean, at this rate, both teams are trying to do some strategy, so there won't be any normal game. So it's either Wings tries to cheese and they lose because they fail their cheese.
This is where Winter tries to back out of his prediction right now.
Winter,
It's not coming back
No
off.
backing
Winter.
out, man. Wings got this.
Ride and die with black on the prediction.
Okay.
I hope Cole bans Venno though, because Wings, whenever they pick Alchemist, they really like picking that Venno.
I'm not a huge fan of
the
Venno anymore.
The safe lane Venno. The safe lane Venno, yeah.
That was the first game they played. They picked that of their group stage, and they got
it didn't
really
go so
beat.
Well. Yeah, it didn't go well.
I feel like that strat's a month old. That doesn't work as well. That strat worked really well then because everybody's playstyle was smoke gank the safe lane, and because Venno was there, nothing happened. So teams are like, okay, they've got safe lane Venno. He's just going to camp there with wards. We'll just go other places.
Yeah, even if you get to kill him, you're all going to go back to Fountain and heal, because the wards are just going to whittle you down.
I'm just not that worried about that. I really like the Weaver ban because Cole 5-mans so often that Wings can easily keep a Weaver somewhere else, split pushing, farming.
I think the other reason of the Weaver ban is Weaver is really good versus Lone Druid because you have the bugs on the bear, on the summon. And I know Bulldog says that when he plays Lone Druid, Weaver is one of the few heroes that he doesn't want to play against when he's on Lone Druid.
Yeah. Makes a lot of sense. The Axe ban? Complexity played a lot of
They like Axe, yeah.
There's a couple of pocket strats they had at Epicenter.
The Wyvern Axe was my favorite, honestly, Paul. That was
ridiculous.
that blew my mind when I saw them doing that.
I've never seen that
so
before.
fun.
Yeah, that was amazing.
And they were stacking Ancients with their
so
support
the Mirana,
offlane
Mirana, and the Axe was like, oh, thank you very much.
Yeah,
Ancients for me.
There's double stacks.
So it's the DP Oracle.
DP Oracle is a very standard combo. Very common combo, and it's a very, very strong combo too.
Is this weird that it wasn't banned though? Because DP is pretty good versus Elk. Obviously, it's going to be a dual lane, so it might be a little scary for DP. But like, I mean, Axe is their hero. I guess A's more crucial, stops Elk regen. Like, Wings draft is very likely going to be all about the Elk.
At the same time, the A is good for dealing with the DP and the Oracle. So
I mean, the AA ban is reasonable, but I just don't know why Axe, because Axe isn't really particularly good against either of IO or Alchemist. So maybe they're planning to pick more core melees, but
are they worried of a cheese that Axe, like any draft that with
Winter?
Axe? I don't know.
Well, right now they basically, Cole has 2 cores that Oracle's happy to ult. Very, very happy to do that.
Yeah.
They have 2 cores that do potentially a lot of damage, and Alchemist is going to be doing Radiance Burn and potentially killing supports, so I think they need some heroes that are going to stop Alchemist from running at them.
It's going to be a long game though. I think both teams will have very, very farm-intensive cores at this rate. DP, Lone Druid, Alchemist, and especially you have an Alchemist draft, you're going to have 4 heroes that can benefit from the Aghanim's buff, and you're just going to go late game.
I mean, especially if you're in a best of 1, you want to make sure
you have the late game.
You have the late game, exactly, because you will be really careful of what you're doing, and you don't want to feel like you're rushed, that you're rushed to finish the game, because that leads to a lot of mistakes.
I feel like Cole has a drafting advantage right now, though, just because they can do a safe lane 1v1, no problem. Like Wings, you know what they're doing. The IO is going to mostly be mid. He may gank some other lanes, but an IO gank's not that strong. Oracle's pretty strong tri-lane hero.
Yeah.
They could aggressively tri-lane. They could do a dual support roam while still leaving Lone Druid fairly independent. Like, Wings has to adjust basically not only to style, but also just to the different things that Cole might do.
Yeah. It just... DP mid is a pretty weak and gankable hero. Well, not weak, but he's pretty easy to
Well, if you want to gank, you need 1 point in the stun from Elk, which is very rare nowadays.
Yeah, but if the Wisp really plans to hang out around middle, then they have to protect DP for sure.
Okay.
We're going to have a Nyx from Wings.
Yeah, that's
and
pretty good.
An Earth Spirit from Complexity.
Nyx sets up the IO relocates, and But Earth Spirit didn't trade for that? I'm not so sold
Good
on.
Aghanims, carrier as well. So they're still going down that route, but Complexity have a very very standard lineup right now. Except for the Oracle, which is not so common. Earth Spirit DP, you crush the mid lane. You basically crush the mid lane. If
really
you get a gank. Yeah, very easy to gank.
But the Wisp can help him like quite a lot. Oh, it's Wisp Tiny instead.
That was a good pick.
Like what are the lane? Safe lane Tiny?
Yeah, well, it's off lane Nyx for sure.
No, they did the butterfly rush on Tiny and Alchemist
give him the
egg, so he had like some 15-16 minutes.
First item Aghanims, and he gave it to... Was it the first item?
No, he had an armlet and then he went for egg.
And then he gave it to Tiny right away, and Tiny rushed butterfly.
Yeah.
And then the Tiny was just unstoppable, and they just won.
It's pretty good. Gives you evasion against the spirits, against Lone Druid.
Well, we spoke about cheese though, right? Like,
that's
here we go.
That's like the most straightforward cheese strat I feel like you can do.
But it's already like everyone already knows this. Like they've done this before. Do you still consider it a cheese?
But to bring it out in the best of one elimination game, it's like.
And they can still potentially deal with them. I mean, with Earth Spirit, their team fight's really good.
They can kite them really easily.
Their early game is weak though. Like Earth Spirit can cause so much problems for Wings right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I get it that they had a lot of late game right now. They have a lot of late game. They want to secure the late game, but early game is going to be a problem for them.
It's going to be Wisp, Tiny safe lane, right? They run that safe lane usually, and then Alchemist middle.
But then Elk's going to get wrecked by Earth Spirit. I guess it depends on what the other sport is, but.
Yeah.
I mean, you can run Alchemist safe lane. It's just not so common.
I would actually like Cole to run the safe lane Druid and pick another off laner, because safe lane Druid is really, really good against Nyx, and in case the supports have to move away. And
yeah, it's definitely going to be safe lane, right? Because Swindles doesn't play Lone Druid.
Yeah.
Oh, true.
Yeah, he doesn't play Lone Druid.
It's
always Chessie. Yeah.
What do you guys think about something like a Faceless Void? I think it goes really well with DP and Oracle as well.
Yeah,
while the Lone Druid can keep the supports out from the back lines.
It's a very good combo.
If they just like Chrono IO +1 or something, then DP Lone Druid should be able to survive the fight with Oracle on the backline and do enough damage.
Right.
Seems like a very straightforward pick for Complexity to round up their lineup with the Void. For Wings, they need more. I think they need more early game. They need more early game though for Wings. Otherwise, the early game might be very difficult for them.
They need really early game oriented support. But what is there left in the pool?
The only problem with the Void though for Cole is that it's also weak early. They need a hero that's going to round out a 4-man lineup: Earth Spirit, Oracle, DP, and off lane. That way, Lone Druid can solo safe lane.
That's actually exactly what you said. I really like this Tidehunter ban, because Tidehunter is very, very strong early on, and with a
5-man.
Yeah, with the Earth Spirit Roam as well, they can put a lot of pressure on the safe lane.
It's like the Ravage plus DPLT will be very difficult to deal with. And Wings, you don't want that to happen. You don't want the tempo of a call to be too quick for you to handle, because you're playing late game.
And Tidehunter late game against Tiny.
Oh, that's like something that we didn't see for a long time. It's really good with Alchemist. In the past, teams always pick Alchemist plus Undying, because there's going to be this point where Alchemist is doing his stacks, and Undying is the perfect support hero to defend the stacks with Tombstone. So that's the synergy, and then you have the Aghanims upgrade for Undying.
I mean, Cole doesn't even have very good stack clears yet anyway, so I wouldn't be too worried about
Tiny,
that.
I mean, if he's getting the Aghanims buff from the Alchemist.
Well, it's going to be a position 5 IO most likely.
I mean, that's basically one of the best team fight supports right there is Undying.
But they'll have dual lanes, like Undying plus Nyx dual lane, and if Oracle is not at bottom, if it's a Lone Druid solo, it'll be difficult.
Offlane Enigma.
Wait, offlane Enigma?
They've done this before. Not too weird.
It's very good versus the relocate though.
And it's going to slow down Tiny's butterfly too.
And as we said, like, this really secures the late game, because they can't cancel it at all if he gets a BKB. If he gets BKB refresher like ever, there's no way Cole will lose the team fight in the late game.
Okay. Thank you very much to all three of you. We'll hear more from all three of our panelists at the end of the game. It is a best of one. It's do or die in the lower bracket as we go over to our commentary team for this one.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into our first elimination game of the Manila Major. We are here with Wings Gaming versus Complexity. My name is Mont. With me is Waga. We just saw an Undying pick.
Yeah, I think that's the first one of the tournament, I believe, and I'm really excited for it. It's a good pick. We'll see if they can create space for the Alchemist with it.
Yeah, there's a lot of room to be made here for Wings Gaming. We are going to jump in the game right now and get underway with our first elimination game of the tournament.
Yeah.
Wings Gaming versus Complexity Gaming.
So, Waka, we talked about the start of the draft, and we saw the IO and the Alchemist start for Wings Gaming. We were a little concerned for Complexity at that point. I think that's a really good, strong opening. Wings not a team that generally picks IO, but in this game, this could be huge for them.
It really could, and it's a strong combination having the Aghanim's possibility of pulling that onto a Tiny. He can go for so much DPS items, and we see Wings with the early smoke movement here, but at the same time, Complexity already got their defensive ward down.
Yeah, so they will smoke through. They won't be spotted out by that observer ward, but it looks like they want to put some pressure, or at least get into the enemy jungle, maybe drop a ward or two down. They might actually find the Still Bear. The bear will be scouted out, but nothing else. The smoke will not break. Wings will stay behind and wait for that smoke to
runs
pop.
out, so they're just going to deal some damage to the bear. But they're going to go try and 5-man control the rune for the Alchemists. Nothing should be happening here, as you don't really contest an Undying on the rune. Like, it's just too risky.
Yeah, I mean, Decay, Tombstone, just the amount of damage you can pump out is actually ridiculous, so.
Can always try with the Spirit Bear if he wants to attempt to steal, but he's not going to go for it.
How annoying that would be for Blink.
Or, he's a little bit late with the bear.
Yeah, he's not going to get there in time. Blink will be able to pick up the rune, and Lip will get the top rune as well. So for now, the Alchemist is going to run right over towards mid. He's going to have the IO, I think, helping him out to begin with. We should see a deny from Complexity and Swindlemelons in the mid lane, so that, of course, there is that one less creep coming out for the Death Prophet for Limp.
Yeah, very nice pick, the Enigma into this, because they're so short range on Wings, all of them. They have 4 melee hero, and then they have Wisp on top of that. And it's going to be a very good hero to deal damage onto the Wisp so he cannot heal. The Midnight Pulse going down, it's going to do a lot of work here.
And I think Black made a good point, too, as well. If he gets a BKB, he's going to have great, obviously, Black Hole is doing a lot of damage coming out. So Limp already going and being aggressive with the Spirit Siphon, pumping out some early damage here. He's asserting his dominance, the best thing you could do against an Alchemist early on here. And he's just punishing him. He says, screw last hits right now. I am going to work on you.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Just aggressive play. That's what they need to do. Obviously, the Alchemist not too scared because Set Freak has been revealed on bottom lane. Zerg Spirit not going to be aiming towards the mid lane immediately.
So this is what we're talking about. I think the silences for Complexity are very crucial, especially from relocate ganks from Wings. Like, you drop your silence down whether you're the Death Prophet or you get off your Geomagnetic Grip if you're the Earth Spirit, but I think if you get off a good silence, maybe Rolling Boulder, you're in a good position for Complexity.
They could be, for sure, but at the same time, you also have the risk of Nyx, for example, going in and initiating. If he ever gets on top of Oracle, that's a great pick for him.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting things that could happen to initiate the fight.
Faith Beyond playing the farming Assassin 4 right now down in that bottom lane. You can see the Undying, throws out the Decay, gets a double stack so he can just start running at people if he wants. That's a bit frustrating.
And the lane is already doing what they wanted to do. When they pick Undying and Nyx, it's just heroes that are going to create space for mid and for off lane, or for their safe lane. So you can't really leave the Lone Druid alone down here. It's not going to work. The stun, the Tombstone, he would just get dove.
I will say he's farming very well right now. He has 10 last hits. You look at mid, you look at the Alchemist, he's got 2 currently. So both mid and bottom are going very well for Complexity right now. Top, obviously, the Tiny's going to get farm, he's going to get CS. That's fine. Complexity are not really concerned about that with the off-lane Enigma.
I think Swindles can do really well on this lane. I mean, there's not much support coming in for the Tiny. He is last hitting well with his high damage, but getting denies on range creeps, and he has Eidolons available. I think lanes are working out quite well for Complexity.
Yeah.
The only thing being that they're not really shutting down the Alchemist that much.
He will still find his farm.
Limp played really good on laning phase, so he kept him away. He's only got 3 CS right now.
Yeah, so I think the Alchemist, regardless, he'll get stacks in the jungle, probably from his IO. He'll be able to find farm regardless of what happens mid. Z-Freak is going to be scouted by an illusion. I think he was trying to set up for a rolling boulder. He still may go for it inevitably, but for right now, he'll just back up and sit on his side of the river.
I think he should just hang around for a while. Even if the gank is not successful, Link cannot walk close, and this Alchemist is suffering right now.
I mean, that's the biggest thing. He hasn't been able to walk up because of Spirit Siphon, and now you have a threat of an Earth Spirit, which is not great either. So for Blink, obviously not having the best start, 3 last hits, he will still find that farm probably, but for now, he's going to have to sit back and be careful. But there is going to be that rotation from the Earth Spirit down to bottom. Z-Freak.
Not the easiest lane to gank though. Spirit Bear not going to do anything until you have level 5 at least here.
You need that entangle. Fortune's End will be good, obviously, but with Spike Carapace, with how tanky you are as an Undying, it's very difficult, especially with the wave pushed out as it is right now. So Chessie's just going to focus on getting his CS, get maybe that early Midas into Radiance, just classic stuff. And for now, it's just a lot of farming.
And Hanskin, they didn't really get the D ward on their creep camp, but now finally the sentry is dead from Wings, so next time it's going to spawn and they'll be having the pull at their service.
So Swindles is actually doing, I mean, we talked about it earlier already, but he has 13 last hits, 11 denies coming out as well, and he's actually only 2 CS behind the Tiny. He's now rotated to the hard jungle camp on that left side towards that top lane. Meanwhile, top rune spot, Blink's going to come in, and they do have, obviously, Innocence there with the IO tether. Limp will get it spirited up, and now they also have rotation from the Undying to drop down the Decay and do some damage and push him back to make sure they don't get that rune for Limp, that top rune spot.
Yeah, and it was a region rune that immediately got broken, so Blink didn't really get anything out of that either. And Boundary Rune, of course, taking bottom. For Swindle, he got his Clarity cancel on top, but he has Soul Ring now, so he can keep laning here quite effectively.
He's level 4. At what point do you rotate and do you look for a gank for an Enigma?
I think he should stay on lane for a long time, actually. The lanes are working out really well. Look at the last hits, 24, 23, 15. If Complexity can extend the laning phase, keep playing towards this advantage, that's going to be good for them. And also, the pool now being available, their supports can start getting something. The downside, of course, would be if Alchemist farms stacks, but Zfreak is out there. He scouted it now.
He has scouted out 2 stacks, one at the hard camp, one at the medium camp.
And you find the third as well, so he knows they're prepared.
I think for Complexity, you probably just smoke up and go for an engagement or a fight if you want at some point in time, just to make sure you can contest those stacks. That is a critical part of Alchemist's farm, I think.
When you have enough levels in Crypt Swarm to go out and farm there, you should do it. But until then, just keep playing, because the Alchemist is not really going to go for stacks yet.
So Complexity have a fast start, but we haven't really talked about Wings. We've talked about the fact that the Alch will get his farm eventually. The Tiny's doing well. He's at 25 last hits. You talked about what you thought was going to happen. The Alchemist was going to give him the Aghanim Scepter and go for a different item on the Tiny.
Exactly. If you have Alchemist in your team, then he could work just as the Aghanim's giver to Tiny. But I don't like if he does it early in a game where he's getting no farm. If you have 9 CS, minute 5:30, you can't do this. So the strat is something you have to be a little bit more flexible with, not just set in stone.
And there's so many different builds for Alchemist as well. I'm curious as to see what items he will purchase in the coming minutes here.
Yeah, he's got to complete the Soul Ring, I think, just so he can keep spamming a lot, rely on the Acid Spray and just farm up. He is going to go for it. And then, I don't know, well, I like to see just a few DPS items. Armlet is super great in the current patch. He's going to get a Boundary Rune top, so he'll be happy.
Get some extra gold. Faith Beyond's going to rotate bottom rune. See that it's not there. It was already picked up, I think, by the Earth Spirit, who has rotated with an Invis rune. That is a perfect rune for him to get this kill on Undying. Remember, this is an Undying. Ice pretty tanky to get some decays off, and he has the Soul Rep at level 1 as well.
He's only level 2, though, so he's not going to be that hard to bring down if they get the roll, but
that's the thing.
Taking some time.
Zfreak doesn't want to walk into that true sight range of the tower. It's very close, but he decides he's going to wrap around instead. He might actually find him on the other side of the other side of the tower. So Ice is going to be scouted out by Zfreak. He'll just follow him for now. You can see already rotating over.
A dive.
Limp is thinking about it. He's got his Spirit Siphon. He's got his Crypt Swarm ready. So Ice needs to be very careful with his positioning here.
Yeah, he's hanging far back, so can't really go for this. And he's getting the experience. He's got a full level already from just being mid for a short while. So he's doing just fine. And I would like to see Complexity just try and get one big ulti pop, like use the Exorcism early here. You have the Lone Druid in your team, you have Enigma. Just going for an early tower. I don't think Wings can defend it too well.
Treat it like a DK. Pop the Exorcism early, start pushing down towers, or at least do some damage to the tower.
Exactly.
You don't necessarily need to get kills with it. You don't necessarily need to push the tower down completely, but at least put pressure on Wings. Force them to rotate.
Oh, actually Wisp is suiciding. He bought items before.
Yeah,
so.
his bottle, of course, going. Meanwhile, there's the rolling boulder. Shadow's going to be caught. They have, of course, the Malefice. They're going to use it. Black hole, but it gets canceled by the Avalanche. They get off the boulder smash, but Shadow was ready for the black hole, and Complexity come up short in that gank.
Oh, that really hurts. Black hole, not going to get anything off that 200-second cooldown.
I thought they were going to start with the Malefice first, wait for the Avalanche, but Shadow just cancels the black hole. That is a super long cooldown, as you have mentioned, so Complexity just have to go back to the drawing board with Swindles.
Even if you lead with the Malefice, you're not going to be able to Malefice immediately black hole before he stuns, because it's just 0.25 second stun.
It was the right play for sure from Complexity, but unfortunately it doesn't work out for them, so nice play from Shadow. Now they're going to go in, they're probably going to get the first blood here on Swindles. They get the Toss Avalanche combo, the IO comes in to help out as well with the Spirits. Nicely done from Shadow.
Yeah, Swindles having a hard time right now. He needs to just regroup, because he had a very good laning phase in terms of denies, CS. He just needs to calm down after that top engagement.
Zfreak was still up there ready to help out, but unfortunately was not in a position to do so. Limp will pop up The Spirit Siphon do some right clicks, but here comes the Invis Vendetta. Nyx Assassin and Pale will hit. Now the Undying uses the Decay and the Soul Orb going to work. Now Limp pops up another Spirit Siphon.
So tanky.
Yeah, that Nyx Assassin with the Spike Carapace stopping Limp in his tracks, but here comes Hanskin, gets off the Fate's Edict. That should be the end of the engagement. Cryptstorm will do damage. Fortune's End, will they go up to the high ground? They should have Purifying Flames. Good Impale onto Limp again, but he's got another Spirit Siphon, another Cryptstorm to get the kill. Purifying Flames won't be enough. The Tombstone is dropped down, and that is it. Z-Freak will rotate in towards that top area, but that's going to be the end of the engagement.
And that was a lot of Spirit Siphons used as well, so going on cooldown here, he had all his 4 charges when the fight started, but silently this Shadow, Tiny, just pushing onto tower. Meanwhile, bottom, same thing.
Yep, Chessie is going to put some pressure, also give Faith Beyond a right click, but Shadow is going to work on that tier 1. They'll be able to push this a bit faster, I think, for Complexity, but they've started out at a better point for Wings. See if either of these teams get these tier 1 towers.
We also saw just how dangerous the Wisp Tiny can be on that top fight, just bringing in Tiny really quick with the tether. And it's going to be a tower for Complexity at least.
Z-Freak will use the Boulder Smash Chop. Shadow is going to take some time. And even Complexity, they're going to push further. They have the Enigma here. They want to put some pressure on the tier 2. They say, if you want to take the tier 1, then we'll try to get some tower damage done on this tier 2 down bottom. You can see already they won't put any further pressure with Shadow on that tier 1 top lane.
Yeah, I really like this play. They are backing up now eventually. They had to respect Wings have some strong fighting lineup, but probably just because the Wisp was level 6, they get a little bit scared of Wisp relocates, and he's going to bottle up, so he actually has mana for it now.
Yeah, the relocate gank is coming for Wings. They also have the top net worth now in Alchemist. Like I talked about, he is going to find his farm. He is top in net worth. He already has his armlet. That's just how it goes when you don't contest his stacks. Even with the poor start that he had in that mid lane, it's still completely fine.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I've seen some terrible Alchemist early games, and then he just recovers on the bounty runes, so you can definitely, you can never count him out.
Grievel's Greed, good ability.
Yeah.
Pretty strong stuff. Jesse still, though, he has his Midas, so he's actually doing well. I think it's 1,500 gold on top of that, too. So he has had a great start. Obviously not quite the GPM of the Alchemist after getting those Grievel Greed stacks, but he's still finding a pretty good amount of room for himself, and then he can transition that into the Radiance later on down the road.
And that's without him even getting the tower last hit. Tower went to Enigma when they pushed bottom, so yeah, he's doing a good job. Very high CS right now on this Lone Druid.
It looks like they're going to do what you talked about. Pop the Exorcism, get the Lone Druid on the tower, and push. They are not going to let this Alch farm out of control, or the Tiny for that matter, and Wings are going to have to rotate a couple. They'll throw the Acid Spray down, obviously with Demolish the Bear doing a lot of work.
And they now have a chance to go top as well. Oh, they're diving
They
in,
are
though.
diving. Spirit Siphon coming out. Great Boulder Smash. They're going to get the Fortune Set onto 2. Cryptstorm Exorcism going to work. Limp gets False Promise up. Great Tether. Armlet Toggle coming out. They get off the Impale as well. They will take down the tower for Jesse.
So
but yeah, the Alchemist Chemical Rage is going to work. Blink's still alive, but barely. The Exorcism will finally bring him down. They get the Eye on top of it, but they have the Tombstone going to work with Ice popping up the obviously ultimate from the Undying. They get off a great silence coming through, and Faith Beyond as well as the Undying trying to chase further, and they get Shadow up there with the Toss Avalanche combo. The Magnetize comes out, the Impale as well. They'll turn 3. And so actually not that great of a fight for Complexity, all things considered. Wings turned it around, and they get a double kill for Shadow in the end.
It was very aggressive to go into that, knowing that they can't have Enigma. I mean, he's going for a top push, though, but now he has to be careful, because they can just TP in, all of them backing off. He doesn't really know when they're going to strike. But that was a deep tower dive. I expected Complexity to take the tier 1 tower mid and then TP top to defend their own tier 1 and push there, but they lose their tower top.
They were a bit aggressive.
Deny it, though.
They did kill Blink, but they also lose Chessie in the process. They get the tier 1 tower mid, which is okay for Complexity, but for Wings, I mean, you had Shadow involved in that engagement. He gets off now a Blink Dagger that he has up ready to go.
Oh yeah, he had the Blink Dagger, and it was a really big thing for him, just being able to catch more people. And Shadow is an aggressive carry. He loves to just join in. The way he plays, to me, it resembles a lot CDEC at TI5. He always joins his team early on.
And with a Tiny IO combination, that's going to be even more so in this particular game. Limp will pick up his Veil of Discord, with Spirit Siphon being magical now, Cryptstorm as well. This is the more common build. You might not have seen it if you haven't watched a lot of Death Prophet recently, but this has been the item of choice for a lot of DPs.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's ultra tanky. When he has Veil for armor and Infused Raindrops to block a little bit of magic damage, this is a hard to kill Death Prophet, especially when Death Prophet can benefit from the False Promise so much. Doubling the heal, of course.
You saw it right at the beginning of the fight. Hanskin threw that up onto Limp as soon as he was starting to dive.
It's just it was such a long fight, and then when it ends, he just died immediately.
Wings with some good vision in the enemy jungle. They were trying to put pressure on that bottom tower, not knowing where Complexity were, though. They were sitting under the tree line close to that tier 1 tower. Z-Freak will start walking up, and now Swindles is going to be spotted out by Ice Ice. He's got a ward. They're going to drop down the ultimate from the Undying, interestingly enough.
Most casual ulti
He just
ever.
ultis and walks through the mid lane.
Maybe he just likes the way he looks now.
I guess. Damage amp, whatever. Who knows?
Well, not really a big cooldown to worry about,
No.
so farming continues. Wisp is just protecting a Tiny. Can't really gank him, even though Zephyr is hanging around bottom with his level 6. I don't think they can ever kill Tiny here.
Top rune spot, Ice Ice will find the bounty rune, but no contention coming out from Limp. I mean, if both teams decide to farm and just wait for a little while, who do you think this favors at this point in time?
I think it favors Wings. Complexity are the ones who need to make stuff happen. That's where they're gonna go bottom, trying. TPing in everyone here, but
I don't think they can chase. They had the Lone Druid on pursuit, couldn't find an entangle. Zefried wasn't there with the Rolling Boulder. Chessie was very low, but he gets earned up. And Complexity are going to play as 5 now and push into this tier 2 tower. While this is happening, you do have the split push coming out from the Alchemist in the top lane, who now has a Solar Crest, by the way.
Yeah, I love that build. It's really, really strong for fighting, and he's going to farm just fine with it as well. Doesn't have to go for an early Radiance.
Exorcism is up, so if they want to push this, they can. It is only level 1, it's level 10 for Limp currently in this game. They have Black Hole ready to go for Swindles. His first going with the Black Hole wasn't spectacular, looking for maybe a better initiation next time around, but I think they do have the mech on him this time.
That
so
Solar Crest on the bear actually makes the tier 2 tower hit so hard against it. Had to run away immediately.
They'll use their scan to see that Complexity are backing off, so Wings do have a pretty good understanding that they are still there. In fact, the scan's still going, so they know they're staying around, so Wings won't go too much further away from this tier 2 tower bottom lane.
Just smart play by Wings now, sending the Wisp and Tiny top instead of having Alchemist there. Much easier to bring them in, and Tiny is going for the Echo Saber. Yep. That'd be a really strong item.
I feel like that's just... So many people kind of question that item on Tiny. It's kind of still iffy, I think, for a lot of pros. What do you think about the Echo Saber on Tiny?
No, I think it's great. Oh, we see...
Good boulder smash, rolling boulder in. They get off the Veil as well. The Chemical Rage is there. The Magnetize on top of Veil. Ice pops the Flesh Golem as well as the Tombstone. Faith Beyond getting destroyed by that Magnetize. They will bring him down. Shadow is going to work, though. He is finally in with the Relocate as well. The Exorcism chewing him down. The Spirit Siphon Shadow. Tethered up, relocated out. Nicely done coming out from Wings to keep him alive.
That was a big one team fight for Complexity though, and they still have Black Hole. They just use the threat of the Black Hole, and that's what you really want to have happen when you draft like this, because now you can keep going. Go for a next tower.
And they get the tower on top of it, so the tier 2 does end up falling to Limp.
It was a little bit of a disjointed kind of fight for Wings. They went on the Enigma with Tiny, but you don't really kill a mech Enigma on your own. You get your combo off, but until you have Echo Saber, maybe then with a double punch you can kill him. But...
And there's that Axe coming out for the Alchemist. So it is the Armlet first, followed by the Solar Crest. You mentioned, okay, I don't want the Alch to get, Axe right off the bat or super early, but do you think this is the right timing for him?
I think it's a good timing, because now you can start looking towards Tiny to carry you. When you have Echo Saber coming up and Wisp tethering him up, you can create a monster. If he goes Moonshard after this, or just a damage item even, as he has the Echo Saber, it's going to be pretty amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, this is a point where Wings might not be having the best time in terms of fights, initiations, but a couple minutes from now, they're going to be pretty big. I mean, this is just the power of the Alchemist. You accelerate so quickly at 10 20 minutes into the game, so.
And he's just reading the game correctly here, pushing bottom really hard, where Complexity are kind of locked in that they need to go as 5. Their draft is built around it. You don't have the best heroes to deal with split push, and Alchemist is getting a lot done down here.
And the Nyx Assassin will have the Blink Dagger pretty soon as well, so they'll have a lot more counter initiation from Wings' side. So Complexity, like you said, they're trying to 5-ban. That is just the essence of their not only lineup, but just who they are as a team in general. But they're going to wrap around now. Beyond,
go on him.
Yeah, they're going to Rolling Boulder in. He's got Spike Carapace, can't get it off. Silent Step, they're going to use the Fortune's End, and here comes Limp, pops up the Spirit Siphon. Spike Carapace will go, but I don't think he stays alive. They should have detection. They pop the Sentry and the Dust Floor, but now Shadow relocating in. Gets one instantly. See you later, Zefried. Getting chased down his Innocence, though. Will not relocate out in time. The raindrop almost keeps him up and ready, but Shadow does have to TP away. It is a 2-for-1 exchange. You have the Nyx Assassin, the offlaner, and the support going down for Wings for just 1 support for Complexity.
I feel that Shadow kind of sold out his Wisp there, because he blinked away from him, broke the tether, and then Death Prophet was like, oh, Wisp, are you all alone? No boots on Wisp? You just die there.
Shadow said, you're on your own right now, my friend. I'm out of here. He just blinked up to the high ground, TP'd out. And here we go, more 5-man for Complexity. Just they want to take these towers, and they're about to get the second to last outer tower of the game. That tier 2 mid will end up falling. this isn't necessarily an all-in type of strategy from Complexity, but they are getting so many towers out of this that it's working pretty damn well.
They are, and Death Prophet is scaling really well with the item progression right now. Has a lot of HP, has good armor, going for the steal on the stack here.
And they might get this. You can see already Wings are rotating in. They've decided to get to that tier 3 tower. I think they might have smoked up as well. They're looking to contest this. This is not falling that quickly. Complexity will lose their exorcism by the time they get there. Shadow's going to be coming out. They have the smoke. It's now popped, and they're going to jump in. Avalanche toss. Chessie in trouble. Great false promise, though. Swindle's in trouble. Spike Carries will come out. They get the Undying at the very least. Limp will stay alive for the mech, but only for the time being. Now Shadow entangled up. They get off the black hole, but it's only onto one. Boulder Smash sounds. They'll kill Shadow. Dead for 45. So far, it's 2 for 2, but now Blink's going to work, and Swindles will get tailed up. It looks like it might be a 3 for 2 in favor of Wings. They get the triple kill for Blink as well. What a fight from Wings, and now they'll turn their attention possibly to Roche, maybe just down to bottom and to keep that wave pushed in.
Solar Crest is just so amazing in these early fights. I really love the way they itemize the Alchemist here. It really helps so much in these early team fights. And Tiny does go down, but in the end he did pick up his Eagle Song, so he's going to go for the butterfly first again, as they've done before.
That's another classic item that they picked up a lot on that particular hero. But so that's a really good fight for Wings. The problem with that fight for Complexity is that the Exorcism was going, but it was going to run out by the time the fight really just started. And yeah, they killed, I think, Shadow in the beginning, but the Alchemist is starting to get to that point. And like you said, with the Solar Crest, we'll just chew through a lot of these heroes.
There's just a lot of heroes that Nyx can stun whenever he wants to, and that's a big issue. The Earth Spirit is going to be stunned. As long as he doesn't silence the Nyx, he can be stunned anytime because of the ulti, the AoE spells. The Midnight Pulse is going to be a target for Nyx as well, so he can stun off the Enigma until he has BQB. And then Death Prophet, same thing there. So it's a great pick. I love the Nyx in this game.
Yeah, the Nyx Assassin didn't have a great start, but was able to find a lot of good impales and spike carapaces. As we progress through the game, Complexity are completely unaware to the play that Wings are making. They're in the Roche, and they're about to take it down here completely. And they have the Solar Crest. It's taking a little bit longer than they might like, but they will get the Aegis. They'll probably give it up to Shadow as he has the open spot here, and that will be the Aegis going to them.
And now trying to go for a tier 2 top push. A little bit risky going into an Aegis here. Could work out for them maybe, but it would be a good timing since the Tiny won't have his butterfly yet. But I still think that Wings are going for this fight.
Exorcism is up for Complexity. They don't have their black hole, so their big team fight ultimate not quite there, but Exorcism should do the job. They have the rest of their abilities ready to go. Limp is looking to walk and wrap from behind here. They have great vision coming out. They know exactly where Wings are at this point. Innocence might get caught first, but Limp is going to be scouted by the Siege Creep. He gets the silence off, but they just can't chase him down. Now Faith Beyond will walk through. He's vendetted up. They don't have any detection on the ground here, and it looks like Complexity will back away. And Shadow will just go to work on the tier 1 tower mid.
And just ignoring them, going for the push instead. Alchemist pushing bottom, and he's getting a lot of money again. He has almost 4,000 gold now.
I mean, this is a slow start for Wings, but they have transitioned into a very hefty mid game at this point with 21 minutes in. 14,000 net worth for the Tiny, 11,000 for the Alchemist. But they do have the Lone Druid. He has his Radiance up. Any other items ready to go for the Lone Druid just yet?
They need to play towards this. He doesn't have his face boots on the bear, which I feel a little bit sad about.
I like the push from Complexity. They'll go up to the high ground. Looks like Tombstone has been dropped down. The Boulder Smash will narrowly miss 2. They get the silence up onto Ice Ice. Limp's walking up. They really want this Tombstone, and they should find it with the last right click. Uncivil Concoction. Limp will take some damage, but here comes Shadow. Avalanche onto a lot. They get the toss on a Z-Freak. They get the false promise off, and they need to keep him alive. Silence on the Shadow, but he has that Aegis, remember. He will have 2 lives. Blink walking up, has to pop the BKB. Magnetize. They'll lose 1. They try to get the relocate out. Did not work for Wings. And it looks like they will lose the Aegis, but that is it for now. Exorcism is about to end, and Wings won't lose anything other than the Aegis for the Tiny on Shadow.
Complexity should just be happy with that fight and back off. Even if they don't get an objective in the end, they got the Aegis gone, so now when they have the cooldown ready, they can go for a fight again. Just 100 seconds until they can fight. And BKB, of course, used in that fight on the Alchemist, his next pickup. So just a fighting build completely, not going for any farm consuming. And I think that's a great choice. If we want Radiance, he would take too much farm away from the Tiny himself.
Yeah, they're splitting up the map very well. Those are the top 2 cores, as we've mentioned, for Wings. One problem I do have for Wings' lineup is I feel like this Undying is just not contributing anything at this point in time, Wago.
He doesn't have to do that much. He's forcing people to fight the Tombstone, and that makes them go into weird positions where Nyx and Tiny can really capitalize on that and kill them. So I think he does what any Undying does in normal games. And later on, I mean, into a late game, he's going to scale pretty well just because of his ulti. As long as he stays alive, his ulti is going to do great work.
That's the problem. He gets pretty squishy later on down the road, even with Flesh Golem, which will help out. But I mean,
That's true.
At this point right now, Wings are just farming up these 2 particular cores. They did pick up, I believe, the Bloodstone for Limp on the Death Prophet. What do you think about that? I thought that might have been an Octarine, but it was a little bit early for it.
I thought it was going to be Octarine. They don't get that many kills the way the game is going. Oh, chasing down here.
They need an Entangle proc from Chessie. Toss from the bear, onto the bear rather, back onto Chessie himself. They are still looking to run them down. Relocate from Innocence. Savage Roar, it's just not in time. It was close from Chessie. Good try there.
Can he get the TP? Wisp. Let's see if he can TP to base right when 3. He should do it. No.
No, he's not going for it.
He's not even trying.
He
gave up on life.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not tethering.
All right, dude.
See you guys later.
It's 50 gold. Do it.
And a wasted TP, though, if he misses it, though.
I mean, that's not a thing on Wisp. It doesn't matter. You TP there.
Blink Dagger for the Alchemist. Faith Beyond as a Nyx Assassin. Split pushes down the tier 2 tower. Limp has his Exorcism back up, but is still level 2. And they will go for the push. The Black Hole is ready to go. This tier 3 tower, it's taken some damage, and it might even go down here as the Exorcism is popped by Limp. And they'll buy back on the IO as well. Good glyph coming out, making sure that tier 3 tower is alive.
Going behind the enemy here. Wings.
They'll go for the wraparound gank. Here comes the Alchemist on Sibyl Concoction.
Oh boy.
Great Impale onto 2. Now the Black Hole comes out, gets canceled immediately by the Spike Carapace. Chessie getting low. Zefrig having to back as well. Everybody from Complexity getting obliterated. Swindles will try to TP. They got the racks though. The melee racks is gone. Limp is going to work. He's going to get Shadow. The Tether will not be there in time. And Innocence cannot save his comrade. With all of that happening, with 4 down for Complexity, they still get Limp. And he gets that melee racks in the process.
Yeah, that's the consolation kill on the Tiny, I guess. And the racks kind of makes it worth it. Complexity have to go for these pushes, just to get some damage done. And you can really say how terrible it is to play Enigma against the Nyx.
Yeah, that's just been the biggest issue.
It's just really hard. He needs to go for BKB as soon as possible. He went drums into, or mech into drums. I think he should probably just have rushed the BKB. He needs to get ASAP.
He has 1600, so he's not super far off of the BKB if the game continues to progress the way it has, especially if they get another Rax like the range Rax top lane. But
I don't like that Faith Beyond is actually going for his own Aghanims here. He could have gone for like 4-staff or something else on the Nyx. He's going to get an Aghanim sooner or later by this Alchemist, but I guess he just wants to have it that much sooner. But
he wants to be involved, especially with the high ground defense. I think Burrow is very, very critical for Wings, even at this stage in the game.
Oh, for sure. I just feel there could be better items for him to invest into instead. Since the Alchemist is already gear capping really quickly, like he has 6 items right now. So could easily have passed an item.
Vendetta, Impale, Zefrig, good blink out, relocate in, Fate's Edict, and they're going to go for the Avalanche Toss combo. It's just completely blocked by the Fate's Edict. Exorcism, they will lose Innocence. They're about to lose Shadow as well. He's going to be able to get forced away. Might stay alive. Hanskin's getting chopped down though by the Maelstrom. Tombstone will finally go down. Faith Beyond, Magnetize, Exorcism. They've got Zefrig a double kill, but look at Blink going to work. Limp is now kind of just doing work on his own here. Chessie's going to come through, and they're looking for it to tangle. Unstable Concoction will go. He wants Limp, but he might end up falling. They get off the sword. The Crypt Sword comes through. The Impale, Limp still alive, but will finally get the kill on the Nyx Assassin. Ice will fall as well. A double kill for Limp.
Complexity.
They just get wiped, and Complexity will go straight down mid right now. Somehow Limp surviving through it all.
That was a crazy turnaround. There's a long death time on the Alchemist. No buyback for him. Tiny's gonna buy back, trying to deter the enemy, but Complexity are not going anywhere. They're coming for this push.
Good news is there's no Exorcism. Bad news is that there is, of course, a Lone Druid with Demolish. They could take this down rather quickly. No creep wave, though, so it'll take a little bit longer than maybe they thought it would. But still, Wings, they lose 5 heroes. They're forced to buy back on Shadow. They might look for a Blink initiation. They really don't want to give away a free Rax at this point, but Complexity are in a good spot. Shadow walking up.
He has to be so careful.
Silence
he used
onto
his buyback.
2. They're going to lose this melee Rax. They just can't defend it. Chessie's Demolished from the Bear is too strong. TP's going to be coming in. That'll be from the Undying. They have the Savage Roar, and Chessie says, get out of here. They'll be able to get out together. Complexity will not lose anything at this point, Waga.
Beautiful play by Complexity, and now they're in a really great spot. They've opened up the enemy base a lot. There's no tier 2 tower on bottom as well. So just next Roshan is going to be what they need to play around. And they have Enigma. That's a great hero to fight the Rosh pit.
Yeah, and look at that net worth graph as well. It's swinging all the way back up to even. 2,500 in favor of Wings, but not much more. And so that was just a heck of a fight from Complexity. Limp just stays alive throughout the entire engagement.
That turned dark so quickly for Wings. It looked really great. The Alchemist was doing good work on everyone. but then he just stood next to a Lone Druid, got rooted, and took so much physical damage.
The
he
BKB,
thought he would be fine in the BKB, but it did not save him from
did not
Lone
help
Druid.
him there. Absolutely correct in that. And so Complexity, they still have a lot of work to do. They've gotten a couple of melee racks' wings. They're not out of this yet, though. There's a lot of this game left. There's an Alchemist in it. There is a Tiny. So late game potential, you talk about an IO Tiny and split push and rat. We have seen it in so many Dota games, Waga.
Oh, yes. You could always win. As long as you have Wisp Tiny, you can always win the game in Dota. That's the way it goes. And they can deal with big creeps easily. So this game is definitely not over. But Complexity now in a pretty sweet spot.
They are in a very
Looking
good
at
spot.
farm, we have 800 gold until Swindles completes his BKB. I think that's going to be the real big timing for Complexity to start going.
Yeah, then they have pretty much nothing, or nothing in fact, to be able to cancel that black hole when he has that BKB going. Spike carry pace be damned.
There's only one way, and that's if Enigma casts the black hole kind of far away from him, he can be tossed away even if he has BKB on. But, you know, most likely the Tiny cannot toss him.
Unlikely to happen.
Yeah.
But for Swindles, yeah, he just needs to farm that BKB up. Roche is available, by the way, for both teams if they want to go for it. You have the Solar Crest. Wings will scout it out currently. They'll send in the Nyx Assassin, who did pick up the Aghanim Scepter, so he has Burrow now ready to go.
That's going to be a pretty good thing as well in terms of just chain stunning. If they ever get a good initiation with Tiny or Alchemist, he can follow up with Impale, then blink in, Burrow, stun them again. So they have some good tools. Trying to push top. Have to be careful about fighting Complexity here.
Shadow not only flutters away, but blinks as well. He says, I do not want to get caught. That's the last thing I want to do, especially when I just bought back too.
Yeah, and there we see it. The full BKB is completed before the Roshan fight occurs. So now all Complexity need to do, get top pushed out with a Radiance Bear and head towards Roche.
Complexity looks like...
As for Wings though, this Alchemist, he hits really hard with the Mjolnir that he has.
Complexity were smoked up. They were scanned at the tail end of it, so Wings know that they're in that mid lane vicinity. So Complexity need to be careful with how they walk up, or Wings are just going to back up and maybe just give Roche away to Limp and Complexity. Although Faith Beyond is nearby, do they have a gem up ready to go? They do. Z-Freak has one, so if he walks a little too close, they will be able to spot him out, but Z-Freak's already on the high ground now. They're looking for a pick. They won't find anything, though. Not yet, anyway, for Complexity.
They have a ward in the enemy base, so they saw them walking around, trying to find a way to pick off the Alchemist here, but Smoke not going to end up finding anything. They're just going for the push. They say, screw Roshan. We don't want to take that fight. Let's go for base.
And Faith Beyond is just walking back at this point, still invised up. They're going to pop the Exorcism for Complexity. They want to get this over with. They have the BKB for Swindles. They have Black Hole. And they'll pop the Unstable Concoction, blink in. They're looking for the stun onto two, including the Bear. Z-Freak stays alive with the mech coming out. Swindles pops the BKB. Black Hole onto two. Can they get the damage? They have Exorcism. Boulder Smash, Geomagnetic Grip with the Magnetize, but they get the relocate out still, though. Blink will fall. Dead for 70. Limp gets a triple kill. They are not done yet. They're running them down. Wings are in trouble.
Complexity have done it. They killed them. They're both dead.
They have the two big cores out of the game. Faith Beyond will try his best with the Impale, but for now it looks like Complexity will take at least a set of racks bottom. Maybe the game as well. They get off the Boulder Smash, the Geomagnetic Grip comes out, the Fortune's in, they're just going to go right to him with Jesse. And they really just want these buildings at this point. Still no Exorcism, but they're about to get a good double Impale coming through, but Limp and Z-Freak going to work on that melee racks.
All the melee racks are gone now. Just top racks, range racks to go for after this one as well. And Lone Druid is already there. This is going to be Megas.
They're going to get Megas at 31 minutes into the game against a Tiny and Alchemist. Complexity are about to take this game and eliminate Wings from the entire tournament. Manila Major, of course. Wings will be done. They are done now in the Manila Major. Complexity will move on to the best of 3 series. What a play from Complexity. What a draft. What a mid-game from them as well.
Yeah, just props to Complexity. They played really, really solid. They had some shaky performance in the early stage there, but they got so much farm and translated it really well. And they took down a team that a lot of people had pinned as their top 4 favorite. In fact, going down in the bottom 4.
Wings out of the tournament already. A team that was here not too long ago and having a great performance, but Complexity showing they are the kings of the losers bracket. Losing 4 games of the group stages right in a row. Boom, they come in, they take down Wings immediately. Perfect play from Complexity with this draft.
I like that they still went, because it seems like they still went with what they wanted to do. They picked Lone Druid immediately. They're like, okay, we're going to keep going for the push strat, even though we see this Wisp Tiny coming out. It doesn't matter. It doesn't phase us. The Wisp Alchemist was, in fact, the first 2. And they just powered through it.
Yeah, that was a solid draft from Complexity. Wings, of course, they They didn't quite make it there in that mid-game, and it was a bit rough for them. That was just such a quick way to GG out. All of a sudden they push bottom, and then boom, they're ready to go.
Yeah,
with
just
that
fighting so well on the high ground, they just went for it.
And it seemed to work. I was a bit concerned when they decided to go high ground, but nonetheless, Complexity will move on. They will go into the second round of the lower bracket, into the best of threes. Wings are done. They are eliminated from the entire tournament. With that, we're going to hand it back to our panel.
Thank you very much, Mort there. And yes, Complexity are the first team to advance through the lower bracket. Wings, however, are the first team eliminated from the Manila Major at the very first hurdle. And we'll find out from our panelists exactly what they think right now, because there's one who's quite happy about his prediction, the other two not quite so much. Purge.
Hey guys.
With a smug look on his face.
My gut was right.
It was right.
Cole is the lower bracket Masters, something like that. Or
Yeah,
Wings
like that.
just disappointing finish, really. I mean, I thought they were going to be top 4. I'm sure you guys thought something similar, and they just get knocked out right off the bat.
I'm going to come to Black in a moment, but I just want to give Knoxville a bit of a shout out, because he was the only one of all the people that put the analyst stuff in that actually predicted they'd finish outside the top 8. The only one that predicted they'd finish outside the top 8, and even then he didn't have them in the bottom 4. It's extraordinary.
Yeah.
And Black, you're very disappointed in Wings right now. You still believed halfway through that game that they should have won this game despite the cheesy.
I mean, they had a really, really good window, but I really think they put all their cards on the Tiny, and I know how it is to be in the position that he was in. Like, his team pretty much trusted him, and trusted him with everything. And I think he really had 2 or 3 moments where he completely lost his team the game. And I know there's a lot of pressure on him. I'm not going to blame him. It can
you're blaming
him. I mean, I'm blaming him, but for good reasons.
You feel bad about doing it anyway.
Yeah, but you know what I mean, right? Like, pressure can overwhelm you, and then you just don't perform like you usually do. Like, it was just weird. He went on the at the entrance. He jumped on a lone druid, the tankiest hero, and then he proceeded to die. His itemization was weird. He didn't go for a BKB, even though he got the pulled Aghanims already. I just really didn't understand what he did that game.
Winter just doesn't know what to say after that.
Well, he's mad about one thing.
Yeah.
Drums on Enigma.
Let's talk about that, Winter. Why did that trigger you?
Because they just needed a BKB Black Hole to win a team fight, and the previous few team fights was very straightforward. They lost because Enigma couldn't get his Black Hole off. And I was like talking to you during the game, like, oh, finally we get a Black Hole because he has a BKB, not a drums.
We spoke about it before too, right? He gets BKB, he's unstoppable, and that's what happened in the last team fight.
Yeah.
They lost to themselves, Wings. They cheesed themselves to death.
Who stood out for you amongst the two teams? Because it was fairly even at times through the match, wasn't it?
I think the overall strategy for Complexity, that's what, to me, defines their team. The strat, the teamwork, no one would stand out, but the whole team would stand out.
Okay. But if you were voting for an MVP, who would it be?
DP?
Not Black Hole that game. Definitely not Black Hole that game.
So we're not giving it to Swiddles.
No, definitely Limp.
I want to vote for Shadow for Cole.
That's your MVP vote?
Yes. He was the MVP for Cole this game.
Okay, the Tiny.
The 6th man.
We're not going for Limp.
No, I think it was Limp, definitely. The Death Prophet, like, his itemization was perfect to stay alive. Even in that one fight that they lost in Ancients, he was able to kill the Tiny. If he doesn't kill Tiny there, it's a huge win for Wings. Almost every fight they took was actually quite even back and forth gold-wise.
And this is one of the few games that showcase how strong infused raindrops could be against a Tiny.
Yeah, because you said the Avalanche doesn't proc it, so it always blocks.
So this was the fight where Winter was actually complaining about he can't get the Black Hole off.
Well,
he didn't even have Black Hole this fight.
They won without Black Hole.
They won the fight without Black
You're
Hole.
Right. Yeah, they won it without it.
This is a huge Wings throw. The Tiny went in on Z-Freak on the Earth Spirit, but he had already had Fate's Edict on him, the skill that makes you immune to magic, so he wasted 1,000 magic damage right at the start of the fight and got himself out of position doing that, which allowed them to punish him on the retreat.
They were not supposed to lose this fight. There was no Black Hole. They made a good jump. They should have killed someone. Ended the fight there.
They were supposed to lose the top fight, but then they won that one, and then the fight they're supposed to win,
they lost.
Yeah, it's like...
And Limp gets the full heal. He gets the full heal from that because he did tons of damage with his ult. He lives with like 70 HP.
Yeah.
That was insane. And they get to push from that. It was pretty crazy. But it was awesome to see how
this
fast
is
they
the
grew.
Black Hole.
Yep, the BKB Black Hole finally.
BKB. We have a BKB, so we get a Black Hole off. We win the game.
He sold his Soul Ring for this, by the way.
It is.
He sold an item to get this because they knew they had to win real soon.
Yeah.
I mean, I think you could say good timing from Complexity, really. I know you've criticised them in terms of itemization, but you know, they realised their mistake. They knew they had to make a move right now, and they did.
Right. That's what we've been waiting for. Oh, okay.
Finally, I got a black hole.
Yeah.
Finally. 4-man black hole.
Yeah, it wasn't quite a disaster in the words of Toby, but it was pretty decent.
His brother must have been saying to him, "I told you to get a BKB."
Yeah.
No, I think he probably was. Yeah, he probably was. Probably giving him a bit of an elbow in there. MVP, we're going to give that one to Limp in that particular game. Purge, you were very impressed with him.
I think Limp is probably the best performing player on their team. He consistently has amazing KDAs.
He had an easy game because there was an Oracle with a DP.
Okay, he did keep him alive a couple times, but I still think his itemization was great. I mean, it was definitely a team win. They all played quite well.
Isn't that the story of Complexity, though, Black? Isn't that what we know they're all about? They're all about the 5-man team play?
I played with all of their players before in Hon, and they all transitioned from Hon to Dota, and they've always been the same players. They always value team play over everything. They always do everything together as a team. There's no real standout player, and that's how they have been from the start. And just real quick, shout out to Eternal Envy for that item build. I've seen him spam that and his DP pops when he got to 8k.
It makes sense. You got to get tanky. You know, sometimes you have to get rid of movement speed, mana regen.
Plus, the whale makes the siphon
do more
pure
damage.
Like almost pure damage.
Essentially, because it offsets the base. Well, about offsets the base.
And the threats as well. Like mostly players go for power threats over phase boots when they're up against like a burst lineup, like a tiny. So that was all in all very good itemization.
Right.
Okay, we'll get more thoughts from you as we wrap up the match. But first, we're going to head down to Sir Action Slacks, who's with Chessie.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you have got to give it up for this man coming back as the underdogs. Let me hear it for Complexity, please. Oh, man. Usually I don't ask this. I mean, it's just not a good interviewer question, but for the first time, just tell me, how do you actually feel coming out of that match? Give it to me, man.
Feels good, man. No, in all honesty, it just feels really good to be out of these BO1s. We get to play a fresh BO3. It just feels really good.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. Man, it was so hyped. You guys turned it around. Now, it looked, according to the graphs, that you guys were way behind. I mean, the Alchemist was ahead. The Tiny was ahead. In game, did it feel like you were behind and you were fighting back, or was it all under control?
We never really felt like we were behind at any point, I think. I think we felt like as soon as we get our Radiance up and running, as soon as we get our Stride going, we're going to be fine. We just take the fights, we kill the IO, and that's what we did.
Yeah, and you did it very well. Now, they threw some crazy stuff at you. Ags Rush, Tiny, the Undying pick. Did you guys react to that in any way, or did you stick to the plan that you had before in the drafting phase?
I mean, I thought to myself, like, what are they doing, kind of? It was like, there's a Nyx, there's an Undying, like, what are these heroes? We're like, all right, let's just posture up in our short lane, don't feed. If we saw their Alchemist didn't even go for the Radiance, so we're like, all right, we just take it easy here. We're gonna win, get our Radiance, just go.
All right, did you guys get nervous at all during that first whiff by Swindles in the beginning of the game with the Enigma? I mean, were tensions still pretty high then?
I mean, I wouldn't say we got nervous at all. We were just like, oh, fuck, let's just keep going. We're fine. And yeah, so yeah, it was fine.
All right, good to hear it. Now, you did an amazing thing beating out Wings in that best-of-1. Congratulations. No more best-of-1s for you. But next, you're up against Liquid. That's going to be a rough match. It's going to be hard. What can we do as Complexity fans to give you guys a little bit of support? What can we do at home?
Just cheer for us. Give us all of our energy. We're going to need it. Liquid is a really good team, but I think we have the potential to beat them for sure.
All right, well, we'll find out soon enough. But if you're at home and watching that game, give as much energy as you can to our boys here at Complexity. Really, congratulations. And we'll send it back to the panel there with Red Eye. Thank you, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sir Action Slacks there with Chessie. Some incredible vision from the booth, as usual. Swindle's providing us with incredible emotion in the booth. I think the panel are quite impressed with that emotion as well, aren't you? You're quite impressed. Black's very impressed with this. Yeah, he's getting on the Swindles train now.
Are you guys like that when you win games? You just start yelling?
Oh yeah,
really excited?
Especially me, and I think...
You were much quieter in Vici, though, I noticed. It wasn't quite the same level of hype.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair though, I was still very loud. Just not as loud as usual.
Okay, but still hyped.
Oh Yeah, for sure. Like you just the adrenaline flows through you, and you're like.
How is it that some of the players are able to cope with that? Because some just, they get up, they're like, yeah, well played, guys, and they just come out of the booth and they just shake their hands and they go backstage and they seem super chill. I'm like, how do they stay that calm in there?
Just another day at the office.
Yeah, it feels like that, doesn't it? And yet, players like Black and players like Swindles, that emotion has to come out somewhere, and they release it in an emotional way. Why is there so much of a difference? Because it's the same stresses, isn't it? It's the same stress inside
personalities, I think. Some players are much more calm. Like a player like Fly, you don't expect him to go yelling everywhere. He's like there, calming his team. Okay, guys, we just won this series. We're going to go to the next series. He's thinking of the next series. A guy like Moon would be probably yelling at his team. Oh, I just got a black hole. We just won a game.
Yeah, I love seeing that.
Yeah, imagine putting like Paul in one of those, or Nahaz, sorry. Throw Nahaz in there, and he wins a big, he would actually just punch through the wall with all of his energy. Guaranteed.
The booth would just fall apart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Any final thoughts, just as we wrap up the game, because it isn't a series, it's a game. It's complexity have gone through. Wings have gone home. That's it. They're done. No more from Wings. I find that incredible.
I think Swindle found his direction again for the team, especially with the draft. I'm glad that they actually went back to the direction that they're playing drafts that work much better together instead of very randomly having a lot of ideas, different ideas in one draft. So I think that draft-wise, they're heading in the right direction.
Okay, Black, final thoughts?
I think they can't get out of the slump in 2 days, and well, I've been proven wrong. It was just the good old call that we know.
Yeah.
They got a hard road in their next match.
They do have a hard road. That is one thing, yes. We do have a few more questions that we'd like you to answer. Our social media questions continue to roll in. Who is the most complete offlaner, Universe or Bulba? From Zippo1.
That sounds like a biased question to me. Is it like comparing the two, or is it saying like out of all offlaners?
It says who is the more complete offlaner, Universe or Bulba?
I
think that's a fairly easy answer with no disrespect to Bulba, but
he has more social skills.
Okay.
Oh wait, we're talking about Dota. Sorry.
Yeah, no, sorry, different type of offlaning. That's not that kind of offlaning.
Okay.
Yeah. It's tricky, right?
It's hard to say. It's very team-based, I think. I think Universe is clearly more consistent. He's had more success in a variety of teams, even though he's been around for a very long time. But over all the teams he's ever been on, he's always been consistent, with the exception of maybe Secret, whereas Bulba kind of is hit or miss. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it goes bad.
Okay, got another question here from @Mike1592 says, what will win this major? And I thought, well, that's an odd question. And then he says, the widest range or the clearest play style, Winter?
The combination of both. You need to be able to play a lot of things, and then you need to be able to have a clear, distinct play style, so you have an identity. So I think you need both.
Yeah, because we know that Wings have got a very clear play style, but we just don't know what it is.
It's not clear at all. I tweeted about it. They played 33 heroes.
Their play style is that we just don't know how they play.
Yeah, they played 33 heroes in 9 games.
I think the issue with them is they cheese too much. Sometimes you just need to understand that you can actually win this game without cheesing, without doing anything funny. You just have to do old standard traditional Dota and you win the game.
But that's boring, Winter. We don't like that.
You just need to win the game.
No, we don't like that,
if it's boring or not.
We want excitement. We want crazy drafts.
So you want Wings to do this every game, and some tournament they'll be doing well, some tournament they'll be losing in the first round.
Winter, let's just accept they work for the people. They don't care about themselves. They work for the people.
They pick some new heroes.
That. Wings, the people's champion. They might be last, but they're the people's champion. Take the question. What will win the was it the widest range or the clearest play style?
Well, unless you're a Tier 3 alliance, I would say it's a combination of both. You definitely need to be able to have a wide array of heroes and play them well, especially in a long tournament like this. I would say teams like EG, they have a very, or like the old EG, I don't know so much about the new one, but the old EG had a very big hero pool, and they would adjust immediately, and then that is like their play style. They adjust to what you do, and then they just respond with the right heroes.
Okay, all right, well, I'm going to thank all three of you for your thoughts on a very, very fast game. Complexity winning the opening game of the lower bracket. We'll continue on with the lower bracket, because next up, it's the hometown favourites. Mineski go live against Alliance.
Next matchup, Alliance versus Mineski.